Family road trips. Family road trips are an adventure, to say the least. Especially with my family. We had 6 people in a minivan for just about every family road trip. And what's really interesting is how the road trips adapted and changed over time. Now, my dad, the legend, was always a preparer. Maybe I'll even say a planner. He would set up a tube TV in the back of the van, along with an N64, and we would play Mario Party down the highway. It was great! And let me tell you, Mario Party's rough, but it's still a blast. Now, as the years progressed, me and my siblings get, well, bigger. There isn't enough space to fit an entire TV along with a gaming console, and for all of us to have legroom. So the TV had to go. Big salute. However, we did get a new van, and this van had TVs in the ceiling. Well, okay, actually it had one, and it was probably the size of, small. And there was just one screen in front of the middle row, so if you sat in the very back of the van, the screen was even smaller. And another fun mini game was the headphones, were I believe infrared, which practically just means that they would be static if you weren't in direct line of sight with the TV. Meaning if you bent down to tie your shoe or grab a snack or pretty much anything other than just sit there normally, you would get blasted by a sound of static. That van was great. Watched lots of movies, oh yeah. But there was a little thing called a DS Lite. And well, of course the Game Boy Advance was great. And wow. I just Googled when the DS Lite came out. Yes. It came out in 2006. I remember getting one brand new for my birthday. It does not feel that long ago. Wow. But it was a solid console after the Game Boy. Yep, 10 out of 10. Anyway, we would be playing on our DS Lites, and one of the best things about DS was the fact that there was, wait for it, PictoChat. Oh yeah, the nostalgia is flooding back. PictoChat was a software on the home menu of the DS. Basically, you would turn on the DS Lite, and there was, I believe, 4 buttons on the home menu. 2 of them were either for your DS or the Game Boy game you had installed, and then there was PictoChat, and there was another. Hold on, I need to check. Oh, I just pulled out my DS. The other function was DS Connect. How could I forget? Because when we would play on our DSs, I remember we were in the van and our cousins were in a vehicle beside us. You know, like, sometimes we'd be driving and we lived similar places so that when we left at the same time, we'd be driving beside each other. So we connected and started playing DS. The problem is that the DS Connect has about a range of 20 feet. Which means as soon as you got too far away or took a turn on the road, the Connect was immediately gone. It crashed. Out to lunch. Bye-bye. We would have been lucky to pick a cup on Mario Kart, let alone play an actual track. But it was still fun. It was a blast. So we have our DSs, so at this point, road trips are a cakewalk. Except, as the youngest in the family, most of my siblings get tired and nap, which means I'm the only one who is awake. And, you know, we do decently long road trips. Sometimes they can get to 18 hours long or so. So, by about hour 12, PictoChat is getting a little old. I mean, you can only color in the screen completely black so many times. And keep in mind, these are DS Lites, which mean color hasn't even been invented or introduced into PictoChat yet. Not until the DSi comes out, and I don't know, probably some other relative year. Yep, you just have black and white. I should say, I don't know what was wrong with me, and honestly, I'm just impressed with Nintendo's build quality for these things. But I dropped my DS Lite all the time. There are dents and dings and scrapes, and yet it always turned on, and the screen never cracked. it was pretty legendary. But one time on a road trip, it's still disappointing. I have my blue DS Lite, the OG, and we go to a restaurant and it's Olive Garden. You know it's bad when I still remember the exact restaurant. Like, I'm not pulling a random name. It was Olive Garden. I know it. I know it was. So we eat. I, of course, have my DS right beside me. It's sitting, like, I'm sitting closest to the wall in the booth. Actually, I think it was on a chair. It was on a chair. I know. I was sitting on the chair closest to the wall, and the DS Lite was right beside me next to the wall. Okay? It was there. And we eat. Then we go to the van, drive 45 minutes to the hotel, and then I realize, where's my DS? It's not with me. And then, you know, you feel your pocket, you know, and you realize, where's my phone? But this was more important. It was my DS Lite. I didn't have it. Here, we phone the Olive Garden, and I left the DS at the restaurant. And you'll remember, 45 minutes back to Olive Garden. Ouch! Yep. And it was in the complete opposite direction that we were continuing our trip. We were kind of on a midway in our trip. So, you know, you have point A, and then you have point C, and then you have point B in the middle. And then, yeah, basically, we were between B and C, and the DS Lite was between A and B. I think that makes sense. We're just gonna roll with it, and hopefully I can animate it properly. So yeah, it was in a complete opposite direction. So we went back for it. Let's go! I'm not joking. We actually did. Wow. So we drive 45 minutes, pick up the DS, then drive all the way 45 minutes back just to continue our trip. And so I'm super stoked to have this DS. And so I was sitting in the seat right behind the driver's seat. My dad, the true legend, was the driver on family road trips. So what I would do is I would use the plug-in right behind my seat to charge my DS. Then I would put my DS in the little pouch on the back of the driver's chair. Now, I can't remember why, but we were getting out of the van. Probably a bathroom break. But my brother goes out my side of the van, and his foot catches on the charging cord. Because my DS is in the driver's seat, and the charging cord is plugged in behind my seat. But it's also connected to my DS, so there's a cord there. So his foot catches the charging cord, and it pulls the DS out of the pouch. And it falls out of the van and hits the pavement. I'm thinking, oh, well, it's probably fine. I've dropped it 100 times. Winfer, it's not turning on. Here we drove an hour and a half for my DS Lite to literally break in the very next day. I'm not joking. Like, oh, it never did turn on again. That was it. So I was using my brother's DS in order to check what the other button was on the home menu. Woo! All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.